I guess by way of a little bit of context, and I know we've got 7 brief minutes, which you will hold us to. I also spend a fair amount of time besides nurturing high potential startups in about 40% of Ohio and work with organizations that do that same work by either investing or providing services. I also am on the board of a nifty licensee called Youth Opportunities Unlimited in Cleveland, where we do a lot of work in helping students understand entrepreneurship. Also here is John Clickfellow, who also helps teach through the C program up there, teachers to help them teach entrepreneurship as well. So there's all that by way of saying that we are now educating literally thousands of students across Northeast Ohio in this endeavor through nifty, certainly junior achievement, very active in that regard. So we have a very active and engaged set of students in this area. We also have thousands of students. We have 900 students involved in entrepreneurship activities at Kent State alone. We have 21 other higher ed institutions in Northeast Ohio that also have active programs, majors, minors, coursework. And I'm very proud of both of those and I'm very active in both of those. However, they're both very separate, distinct silos today. And what we're trying to do today is talk about connecting the dots. And we've spent a lot of time discussing this. It's great this was kind of a forcing mechanism to get a bunch of folks together and talk about it further. And so the idea that we've been bouncing around, and very appreciative to have the opportunity to share some of this today and get your thinking on it. We'd love to hear some feedback on this, is that we think there is a model in place that we can mirror, and that is of the college coach and the high school athlete. If you look at that as an analog. So there's 35,000 college coaches, there's 27,000 high schools. This yields $1 billion in financial aid to 126,000 students in Division I and II programs only. So think about that for a second. Yeah, very financially motivated. As a parent of 2 students that used to be in college, when I took my daughter around, luckily my son had decent enough marks to advance to some of the top programs. My daughter, it was a bit of we were on the bubble. And so I used to, because she was a cross-country runner, I would march her into the coach's office first before I went to admissions to try and get some advantage. Well, why can't we give that same advantage to the folks involved, the students involved in entrepreneurial programs at the high school level? We want and need more entrepreneurs as a country. We know very well that the top gazelles, those top gazelle firms, if you will, create jobs. In fact, there's a 10-year study that was just completed in Pennsylvania that shows that 0.2% of the high-growth firms created 70% of the net new jobs in Pennsylvania. So a very small slice of those job creators. So how do we encourage the students to be that next set of gazelles? So it's also, we think, there's a lot of motivation at the college level because it's a very important part of their brand. Babson and us, as they're developing this brand for entrepreneurship, how do we take the top minds from high school to become part of that ongoing brand development? So that's the big idea, and we think if we can find that coach at the college level, that person who is leading the charge for entrepreneurial studies or entrepreneurial activities at the college campus, somehow through the programs that exist at high school, whether those are business plan competitions, whether that's coursework, whatever we can do to draw out those top students, bring those together. We think an important part of this mix, because we can't just say it and it will be done. We need to bring philanthropy to the table, we believe, at least in the early days of this, to provide the incentive, right? Any great study of economics proves there needs to be incentive in these things like there is for the college athlete. But what about scholarships? What about funding programs at universities if this is a required component? So provide some of that early capital to provide this incentive. So bring philanthropy to it. We know that through the Kaufman studies that we talked about yesterday, that 40% of students 8 to 24 want to start a business. So we're not forcing something upon them. But we have a number of barriers. As an example, the entrepreneurship classes at high school, in most cases, do not count for, in many cases, maybe not all cases, but don't count for college credit. Why can't we make that happen? To say, if you take these courses, you will in fact have a head start, just like the kid that took AP math and is able to, earn college credit. So why can't we break down some of those barriers? Again, providing incentives for students to take more of those courses, learn more about it, maybe do some in-field work, the point that Jeff was making on how to earn a merit badge. I've earned a merit badge because I've talked to X number of entrepreneurs, or however you want to wherever we want to do that, I'm sure some great ideas, but I think that is our idea of providing that linkage and bringing philanthropy to the table. I've talked to some folks and foundations that want to be part of this to say, how do we make that happen and provide some real incentives in the system to bring that together. So that's our idea of trying to bring these silos, make them less silos and make them more collaborative, and hopefully I've done that.